announced a new stimulus program that's splitting up to.
My brother. What's going on, brother Suave?
Everything's suave-tastic, suave-amazing, and suave-rific, brother. Yes, yes, yes.
I feel you. Happy Friday Eve to you. It is Friday
Oh,
Eve.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. It's Friday. Yep, yep.
How was your week, man?
Mm-hmm. Well, the week was it was almost like having a long week with celebrating my son's 18th. We had a very great moment, being able to have that intimate time private. Normally people have a big party, but it was important that we had our intimate time and have our little rites of passage and talking about real significant stuff. You know how normally sometimes you be reactive, but this was just a proactive moment. This is something I've been looking forward to for some time now, and it was just an amazing experience. And then so after I finished that, I got back in town. I got fortunate, been blessed with some extra clients and being able to have some breakthroughs for these individuals and just being very productive and getting some appointments taken care of. Had some doctor's appointments myself. It's just been a very, very productive week. So I could say it was a suave, amazing week. Yeah.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome, brother. Like we always talk about, health is wealth. And one thing I do know is that you keep your engine checked up. You know what I'm saying? And that's the best thing, especially with us being black men. You know how they already put the curse on us, right?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
You know how they already.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that you said it because I've taken about 4 colonoscopies. And people always say, why take so many? Because I'm proactive on it. Because I know that when they're talking about risk factors, I got it before I was 40. I got it after 40. I got it when I turned before I got 50. And then I took another one when I got after 50. So I just constantly try to be proactive because if I can address something early, instead of the last minute, you know how sometimes we hear about people have cancer, and a lot of times they don't find it until they're stage 4, and you know what stage 4 means, So I just like to be proactive.
Yeah, and I think too, when it comes down to that sickness, man, it also depends on where it is, because the one thing that I do notice is like with what is it called? Oh man, pancreatic cancer. That one is really like a death sentence. The fortunate thing that I did have though is whenever I was, the manager at the medical marijuana dispensary early one morning, I was a lady came in very early and she was the only one in there, and I was the only one on the backside for us providing service and she was telling me that she had pancreatic cancer stage 4, and they had given her 3 months to live. But since she had started trying medical cannabis in the different forms that she did, that she was on month 9. So she felt as though that her use of that natural wellness actually gave her a little bit of an extension, is the way that she was expressing it to me. And I felt it, to be pretty amazing, man, because the good thing about having those natural health and wellness things is that it's made for us. And I think that we should consider those things, especially looking at the terminal side effects and things that narcotic medicine does to us, man, especially us, because most of the time, whenever they do their testing and things like that, we're kind of at the bottom of the list, because that's why everything always affects us so much, because we're not abundant in the studies. It's not a lot of in the studies. We're a small case study out of all of their studies that they do. And that's the unfortunate part, because we have a tendency, it seems as though in our DNA, that we're susceptible to getting things a lot more, frequent, and in a lot worse in a lot worse condition than other cultures. You know what I'm saying? Especially
Yeah, absolutely.
as black men. So we got to really be
Absolutely.
brother.
Yeah, I try to be diligent when it comes to my health,
Right.
because I know how it's wealth, it's genuine wealth. As long as I'm living, I can breathe, I can do certain things and take care of myself and continue to strive to be productive. But if I'm not here and I have poor health, when you poor health, that significantly impacts your motivation, your self-esteem, your self-worth, and your
Yep.
self-love, because sometimes it puts you in the mindset that you just give up. And I'm definitely looking at myself as a young man and got a lot of life to live.
I feel you on that one. At least that's what I am in my. I'm a recycled teenager. That's that, that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's that's our new club, recycled teen. As '80s teen.
Okay, there you go.
You
Yeah, I'm
know
gonna write that thing. Recycle teenager.
exactly.
Hey,
Hey,
you know.
Sister Zenya is in the spot tonight.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Let me tell you something, man. Listen, I'm glad she's come. She came on. Listen, you know how you don't know why you meet people, man. This is
Right.
a brilliant, beautiful, smart, intelligent sister, and she actually is from South Florida, man. And
Okay.
so I'm just hoping, and I'm very excited about working on some projects. I want to incorporate her into it, man. And I'm
Okay.
glad she's listening. Hey, thank you for showing up and listening to the show. You could also participate. I know you wasn't feeling too well. Hoping that you feel well. But thank you for coming on anyway. I appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you.
You know.
Thank you. So we're
Yeah, brother.
anytime that you can come in and anything that you can contribute, we're very appreciative of it here on our platform, because we want to be able to have those conversations, because I have my brother here that can have those conversations. Like you said, it might not be therapy, but it's very therapeutic, and we all need someone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we all need someone who can help us to be able to balance. We need that homeostasis of mind, body, and spirit. So it's
Absolutely.
important, and I'm glad to have you here, brother, and glad that you can be on these conversations.
Absolutely, and it's also good that when we have people who are willing to. She's been trying to get on for some time now, and so I'm happy that she showed up. But it's also feeling good to know that somebody's supporting you and what you do, because a lot of times, again, like an experience that I had today was, sometimes people don't support you, they don't call you or check on you until they need something.
Right.
When you know somebody uh, authentic and genuine and who's going to support you, you feel good, because it's like I was saying today. You had a situation where I haven't spoken to someone about, I don't know, maybe 4 years or so, and then I got an inbox, and they were saying they were surprised that they're reaching out, but then they said, but I need something, and I was saying yes. Last time we spoke was just, it wasn't the most positive experience, but I see you reaching out, and so yes, you're right. You probably need something, and I said feel free to reach out via messenger. So about an hour later, they contacted, and right, they was needing something, and being the bigger person, being a mature person, and understand this is how it is. The strong got to help the weak. So you know how sometimes people burn bridges and they don't even know what they're doing, but luckily we have strong people in our world that will be able to not hold on to grudges and being able to forgive. Like 70 times 7 in a day that I'll forgive someone. I may not interact with them, but I will never let anybody compromise my soul because I'm struggling with forgiveness. I just move forward. I may not have nothing to do with it, but I'm not going to hold on to things. And so again, we have to be able to be a bigger person. We have to be understanding that people are not always where you at, and we have to also be able to not begrudgingly help people. Because people are in certain places, and sometimes they think they have arrived, but that's not always the case. But again, they learn later. But I'm just happy that the young lady is supporting us and coming on our show, and you don't always have to you know uh, physically see someone, but knowing their presence there and they're there to support you is always a great thing. Just like our relationship, man. I just always appreciate you, man. I appreciate everything, every bit of energy about you, man. Like I said, it's been what, 30 years, man. 30 years. And it's just always a reminder that, man, you're a great brother, great king, great father, great husband, man. I appreciate everything you do. I thank you for allowing me to be on this platform, brother. I just appreciate everything, man. I appreciate your skill set, your ideas, your constant reinforcement, just everything about you, man. And just the whole platform that we can be able to talk about things positive, not a platform where we here to vent and talk about anything negative. Because again, there are a million platforms that people are talking about venting, relationships, something's bad. But this outlet here, like what dude on Cat Williams, this right here,
Right,
man,
right,
this is amazing, man.
right.
I love it. Because a lot of times people do need that break, that break to not talk about anything except positive life, positive things, and not here to vent about sometimes. Because again, they have plenty of platforms to talk about negative things, but we have yet to talk about anything negative, and I don't think that's how we doing this intentionally. When you
Exactly.
created this brand, it was intentional to not have a platform that's so consistent like the other ones. And I appreciate just your vision, you know.
I appreciate that, man. And like we speak all the time, Fred, is we have to deal with like minds, and it's always about positivity. It's about resolution. And like you were saying, we get enough of all of that information all day, every day. They can go to any and every platform. Even when they cut their TV on, they're going to get inundated with it. So
Yeah.
it's just a fact of, for me, it's about having a refreshing, rejuvenating, renewal type conversation, being able to talk about things and be able to come up with resolution and not just beat a dead horse and keep talking about the same things. Because like I know, if there's no action behind any of it, it really don't matter. And that's what we realize, and what we see in a lot of is that, yeah, everybody has an opinion, everybody's talking, and that's fine. We need to have dialogue, but after dialogue, what is it? It seems as though
Yeah.
that's all it is dialogue. And then everybody want to scream, oh, we don't need to have that dialogue. We need to have this dialogue. I mean, they're having arguments about what to say, instead of just listening. And that's why the creator gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, because we're supposed to listen more than we talk. But a lot of
Uh,
people don't understand that. And that's why we have so much conflict. But I love the fact of what we're building, and the family's going to build, and the community and the tribe is going to build. It's going to take some time for them to catch up, and it's going to take us a little time to keep putting a brick on top of the other brick as we build. But as long
yeah.
as we show up, and as long as we keep it in the center of the road, it's going to be okay.
Yeah. 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 And it's great, man. It is great. It is great. I think about is something I wrote. I think just a quote that I like to quote, and it was saying, "Potential without initiative is nothing but a conversation with yourself and others and doing absolutely nothing." This, where you had the potential, you took the initiative. You didn't just talk about it; you actually did it. So therefore, and you talked about it, you manifested, and it became a reality. And good. It's just not about talking about things. All of us got the potential, but if we don't take the initiative to follow through on our conversations, it's nothing
Right.
but a conversation. And I just appreciate it, man. And so, man, and the thing is, our tribe will grow. And like any other thing, be consistent, and it grows. Especially when you think about the energy that we give it. It's nothing toxic, it's nothing negative, and the strong people and the people who have vision, people who have like minded, will actually gravitate to us. Because that's what we are about, positivity. You
Absolutely.
know, not just that language, that trendy language. You know how people always say peace. The universe, man. We just genuinely talking real talk here. How you say that cipher we have.
Absolutely. This is the cipher, because we build it. We build in here. And that's the point. And being able to speak with like minds, intelligent minds, sharp minds, because steel sharpens steel, and diamonds sharpens steel even more. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
yeah.
forward to it. I'm looking forward to get these other creative and intelligent minds in the cipher, and really just start having some conversations and coming up with some resolution. And like I was saying, really for me, this is just the start of a much huger picture, because like I said, our virtual footprint is huge. So you always hear people say, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. But for me, I'm an expressway, because I got a bunch of lanes that I'm interested in and that I want to run in and that I want to be able to bring conversations about, and things that we can build as a culture. And that's
Mhm.
and you know me, I'm branding Black America to the world and telling our own stories. So the others who want the others to think a certain way about us, now they have no way to think a certain way about us, because we're going to tell them the unadulterated, uncut truth right here.
Absolutely. Right here. Right here.
Right here. So that's the things I'm looking for. I'm just looking forward for the growth and looking to where we're going to go in the future, Frat. And I think it's going to be something that's going to be beneficial. It's going to be a tool, especially when it comes to the point where we start crossing the bridge of being able to share our knowledge and being able to share our resources. Because being a business developer for over the last 30 years, and a private investment banker, and being on different levels of of companies and corporations and forming corporations, and from idea to IPO. I mean, I've taken it straight from idea to IPOs, selling the company. And it's a lot out there, but it's a huge amount of possibilities and opportunities out here. And I think that because of fear and uncertainty and not believing and betting on yourself, I believe that there's a lot of talented people out there that are not taking advantage of it. And we've seen a lot of things that has transpired over this last year and a half, especially with the COVID. And it seems like it would give you other realizations about yourself, where you are, where you need to be, where you need to have your family. I mean, it was a lot of reality. It's been a lot of reality checks, man, this last year and a half. We've learned more over the last year and a half than we have in the last 30 years, bro. I have.
Yeah.
Because we've never had our backs against the wall like we had as far as other things. The one thing I can say is that for us in our culture, it's always been about surviving. We always been hustlers. Whatever it took for us, it didn't matter. Whatever it took, even if we had to work 2 full times at a part time and only get 3 hours of sleep a night, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
now,
been there.
Yeah, and now other cultures are having this challenge. What I like to tell people is, you got to look at it as a way that God is even in the playing field, because he said the first will be last and the last will be first. So if we know that we've been through the struggle, and that even though the way things have changed and turned, that we've always made it, and we've been through even tougher struggles, even though we might not have had the health scare. We've been through tougher struggles ourselves. We've been to a point where we walked in a job and got laid off, and we had to leave the same day that they laid us off. No warning, no nothing. I've been in that situation, where I've been laid off, and I've been walked out the door in the same day because they've laid off a crew of people. So, and you had to make adjustments. You had to catch your breath. You had to start swimming again. And that's the thing. And you have to reinvent yourself. And that's the one thing about you that I love more than anything. And that's what I'm sucking off of you, is your ability to reinvent, because you always on the move. You always reinventing yourself. And I can appreciate that, because as you reinvent yourself, you still continue to ascend, and, and not be still and not descend. So I can appreciate that. You're always looking at a way to be able to adjust and overcome. And I can appreciate that. And I suck from that energy, brother. I do. And, that's the part about you, is the fact that you continue to reinvent yourself. Because look at you now. You get ready to go out to the Midwest. Right?
Yeah, man. Well, game changers change before change is needed. You can't always change the game when you're under duress. You got to be able to have a clear mind, clear thoughts, so you could be as productive and strong as you can. A lot of times people are trying to do something in the middle of a crisis. No, I'm trying to be proactive and doing something before a crisis. So therefore I can make a clear decision on what I'm doing, and I always believed in myself. There's no limits. I never had any limits. I remember it had to be like I don't know, I think right after our pledge went over, but I remember one of our honorary frat brothers, I remember he said, you always reach for the moon, or the moon, because if you never make it to the moon, at least you'll be in the company of stars, and I was always striving, that for years. And so you got to believe in yourself. You don't have to get people to co-sign how you feel about yourself or believe in yourself. You put the work in, you believe it. I always would say, the Bible says faith of a mustard seed moves mountains, but I always say in the book of Suave, it say doubt of a mustard seed counts as blessing. You must have 100% faith and 0 doubt, because 99.9 won't do. So I'm always have 100% faith and zero doubt, because that 99.9, that ain't good enough, and standardized test 99, like a fraternity test, 99.9 means no. I don't believe in that 99.9. I'm 100, and I believe in that 100%, especially in regard to my faith. You know what I'm saying? I don't want a mustard seed of doubt on my job.
What you said, the paternity test of 99.9 don't work, huh? It got to be 100.
I need 100. Yeah, right here, I need 100.
Yeah, I'm protesting. Let's go a little further with this.
Hey. Yeah, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, you guys are listening, man. You guys, the things me and my frat brother, co-host talked about, man. If you guys really know his vision, you talk about, like he said, he has expressways. Man, we need to really, guys, we need to really get on this bandwagon, because I'm telling you, we're talking about how we look at television and entertainment or edutainment, everything, man. The platform that he has and the vision has, this is what we need. For years, our story has not been told. Even the people who produce black movies, black film, is always somehow has been financed by others. So therefore, it's an agenda. They want the narrative to change so they can get their part.
It's been glamorized, embellished.
Yeah. Even to show you the power of them, is like the last movie Eddie Murphy made was called Coming to America 2. Right. Now, Eddie's the main star. He's a Hollywood royalty. Even he didn't have control of his entire cast, because he didn't want Louis Anderson on there. And they said they would not even finance the movie if Louis Anderson was, even though he had a small part. It just showed the control.
Really?
Yeah. And so he had to be on there. Even though he had a little part, they said they wanted him on there. Eddie Murphy didn't want him on there. But
wow.
It shows
I didn't know that story, bro. I didn't know that one.
Yeah. But this just shows you. So when I'm looking at these, I'm telling everybody, man, if they knew the vision you had to tell our story, the unadulterated truth. And I just, like I said, man, these people really need to jump on this thing, man. Like I say, you have a lot of vision, and you definitely are on task, on point with a great idea, man. And I like I said, I love that vision, and people need to really just tune in. Like you say, it's happening. It's building. You didn't took the initiative, and we're doing that thing, and you definitely about empowering, So my hats off to you, brother. My hats off to you.
Well, the thing is that it's just a tool, and it's a tool for all different. I mean, the latitude is so wide. It's a tool, especially if you come down to information, but more so, it's specifically targeted for us and our culture. That's just really the bottom line for it, is that it's targeted for us, because that a lot of times be our problem too, is that, we might have tools, but it's the wrong tool for the job. And you need a resource to be able to go and get those tools, especially when it's a point where it's done cordially, and it's not done. It's not done to a point where it's like, what can I get out of this? There are no hidden agendas here. It's what we're here to do. What we're here to do is be co-authors of success stories. You're an author already. So we're just looking to be co-authors of success stories, those who want to tell their stories, those who know some great stories. We want to feature us. We want to tell it ourselves. We want to tell our own stories, control our own narrative, and control our own imagery as well, because that's important. Because what people see is what they think of us, especially whenever you leave outside of the United States. They get bombarded by so much content that's not done by us, but it's about us. And it's unfortunate because it's unfortunate because a lot of times it don't reflect us correctly. So that's what we're doing with Neighborhood Planet. That's what I'm doing with Neighborhood Planet, is I'm forging an imagery that is truth. Now you can take it and run with it whichever direction that you want, but the one thing about it is it's going to be 100% truth. And that's why I'm looking to work with other indie Black media individuals, producers, writers, journalists, bloggers. I want to be able to help them to be able to tell their story. I want to give them another outlet to spread this thing, because Neighborhood Planet, as a broadcasting network, we have 3 different platforms. We have our radio platform, which is npnradio.com, which is actually just airing mixes and playing music right now. And then we have our podcast platform, which is npnvoice.com, where you can come on and have some real conversations, unedited conversations. And we've been doing it for so long, because I sit back and think of one of the shows that I had on there called Truth Serum, the show, with my host Lone Wolf. He's actually an author now too, as well. And we were talking about free speech and freedom publicly quite a bit of time before a lot of others was, and we used to get the y'all keep talking like that, they're gonna end up taking y'all off and blah blah blah, but they never did. But now what they have done, though, on the other platform that we had the podcast on, you can't listen to it, actually. Well, I think you can listen to it, as a matter of fact, but I can't broadcast any new shows on it. So basically what they've done is actually just stop the service for that particular profile on their platform on Blog Talk Radio. But you can go to freespeech.mpnradio.com, go to freespeech.mpnradio.com, and you'll hear all of it. I mean, we were there right after Trayvon. I mean within probably 30 days of Trayvon, even less. And we started broadcasting those things, and now they've got the censorship so skewed. It's skewed because you can say something that not anything that's offensive, but they will flag it, because I was trying to actually get a profile. What was the profile? It was Black was in the profile, and it was on Instagram actually, and no one has the profile name. But they would not allow me to register the profile name. I even actually sent them an email and asked them why I can't, because the profile name is not registered. And they told me that particular name is not registerable, or whatever they called it. You're not able to
randomly create laws or rules.
Yeah, man. Because I forgot what profile it was on Instagram I was trying to get with the word Black in it. I can't really remember, but yeah, but you know me, like I said, every time I turn around, I'm always looking for something else to be able to add a nuance to us. Yeah. Because we have such great character, man. You're just not, the psychotherapist that you are. You a whole bunch of different there's so many different facets of you. You can fit in any type of space and be basically any type of person. And that's what makes us. And then still, you do it with style and swag. See, that what really kills everybody. Everybody else is like, how could y'all do that? How could y'all do that with all that style? How could y'all do that? It looks so good. How could y'all do that? You know how it works. You know how it works. Our culture is our style, and our style is our culture. So that's why I love culture. And for me, that's the thing that drives me and pushes me, because of my access to media and the things that I was limited to when I was younger. And because where I grew up, we didn't have quote unquote Black music on the radio. We had soul music, like they called it back then, for one day a week on a Saturday for 6 hours. Only on the radio where I grew up. If we wanted to hear any type of soul music or Black music, bro, we had to play it on our own stereos at home. But as far as the radio, it was country, western, and pop. That was it. Wow. Yep. And we had public radio that gave us soul music once a week on a Saturday from 6 to 1, and then sometimes he had to go off at noon. So we got it 4 times a month, bro.
Man, listen, Fred, speaking of culture and music, man, I posted something today about, Miami had we created our own culture outside of the nationwide pop, hip hop, but we had our own type of music. You remember Luke, Uncle Al, Space Punk DJ. We created our own culture, and also, I don't know if you know, but that underground radio, they used to have to hack and create their own radio stations. 909 a bomb. Then it was 909 a bomb. 919 a bomb. It was always hacking and finding out and creating, and had listeners, had followers before we had social media before we had
that was the original social media.
Yeah, man.
Social media.
And then the dance, the booty shaking, that never existed, the dance where you like bam, bam, they're throwing that at. And then also a particular type of music that we created in our culture called chant music. When Luke created that chant music, it was like being a DJ. People like, what's that? And he brought that. It was a whole different culture. And it's funny how it has significant influence hip hop. The videos where having the ladies dancing on videos, and that was our own culture, and I appreciate that, because when you brought it up, it just took me back, because it's funny that I posted it. I believe today.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I used to be at every summer, right? And I remember, and I just started following Two Live Crew because I got here, and I really enjoyed it, and it was moving me. I was a young cat, you know what I'm saying? So I remember when they were on Arsenio Hall, and everybody wanted to make jokes about them, talk about their gold teeth, and the women that's out there half dressed and stuff. They used to catch hell behind that. They used to talk about them bad, bro. Remember when they even used to arrest the record store owners for selling their records? In Broward, especially. Remember Navarro? Yeah.
Nick Navarro.
Yep. Yes. Nick Navarro, bro. And so Uncle Luke, they are legends in the hip hop game, because they're the ones who got everybody the opportunity to have the ability to say what they want on record, because they went to
those parental advisors, making clean versions and dirty versions, but they revolutionized it. They was the first ones to have their chains as a part of the record label, the jackets. You remember those things?
Yep. Of course.
And it was just
gold teeth. Gold teeth. Everybody wear gold teeth now. Back in the day, everybody used to laugh at them saying, "What they doing with all the gold teeth?" Remember all that?
Right. I don't know if you remember. You don't remember I had my golds? I had golds when we met.
I had them on we all had them. We did.
Yeah,
especially if you're from down south. You are from the bottom. Come on, man.
It's that culture, man. But it didn't take away from us our God-given talents, abilities, intelligence, drive, perseverance, determination, because those were just superficial things. We were still determined to be successful. We created a culture. Yeah, Miami's a different monster. It's a different monster, but the bottom line is, it's still, these are things that I can reflect back on, and like, man, look, because it was like growing up, man, in Miami. They used to always have these free concerts, DJing, dances, and it was just always.
That was a real movie growing up in Miami back in those days, bro. Yeah, man, come on. Hey, Splash Down at Virginia Key.
Splash Down. Oh,
come on.
Hey,
Cosmic Funk DJ.
Man, let me tell you something. Yes, the DJ. I was at the Splash Down, bro. At the one that they picked the girl to do the Me So Horny video, because it was just I was actually there taking pictures and everything, and it was just crazy. And
I bet it was.
I remember they saying, I said, wait a minute, and I saw that video. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the girl who won the contest. And then one of my friends on net, who I grew up with in Opelika, man. And again, that culture, it was like, man, we living in real time in that, man. How some people and how music was dispensed throughout the country, but this was something that we lived in. Like you say, it was a movie, man, because it was so much external stimuli that would stimulate your brain. The Splash Down, the clubs. I remember my club.
The Superfest that used to be at Miami Stadium. The Superfest.
Oh yeah, Goombay. It just was so many things, man. Hey, Wednesday was strawberries for me. Thursday, I think
it was strawberry for everybody. Are you serious? Come on, man. And then Big Daddy's 8600 on Friday.
Yeah, no, I went to Studio 183 on Friday. You went to Big Daddy?
Oh yeah,
I went to Studio 183.
Come on, man. We used to club Friday. Miami Nights.
And I went to Miami Nights, and then I went to Stardom on Saturdays.
Yep.
I do the 8600 Thursday. I think in Manhattan sometimes. Yeah.
Or you could go hang out. You could go win and hang out with the old heads and sit at the parking lot at the Frontier. Come on, you remember the
Or
Frontier?
the body cap. Or what about the bottle cap? Yeah, the Frontier.
Hey, you talk about the bottle cap, man. 100. But listen, 119 was a better strip than
Yeah.
the South Beach because they had the Golden Rock, they had the bottle cap, and then they had Big Daddy's done at the end on 7th Avenue, bro. So that they had 3 clubs in that strip. They had 3 clubs.
You know, I was never a person who hung out to the world's famous Rolex. I don't know why, man.
It was too stressful up in there, man. You had to watch yourself too hard on Rolex, bro.
Yeah, man.
That was
man, like I said, growing up in Miami was just a movie. I'm talking about, like even like the Bad Boys, the first scene of Bad Boys when the lady had got killed. I knew how that scene came about was from a friend of mine. That was who killed. You know how they art imitates real life, and I knew the young lady, man, and I'm like, wow, but so much activity, and then remember, Hollover Beach. Oh Lord,
yeah, we
Hollover Beach.
Yeah, Hollover Beach. That was the spot. That was the spot for us. But you know what? Still, back in those days, even as recent as that was, it still was the Black Beach. You feel me? I mean, we still had the quote unquote Black Beach where we went to and that we felt comfortable at. And that wasn't long ago. That wasn't long ago. It was not long ago. So you look at those things, man, and it was just it was definitely a movie. Like the Coppertone girl that they showed on Bad Boys getting the pants pulled down over in North Miami Beach.
Yeah.
That was a spot, you know.
Going right there 163rd Street, man. So many landmarks, man. So many. In fact, last week I ate at the restaurant where they filmed Moonlighting. I had my best friend had lunch there. Yeah, that was crazy. But it's so many spots, man. You know, the culture, the food.
Right.
You know, even this platform, man, having a platform where we can just reflect back on all those good days and again the positive stuff we're talking about. Because it's pleasant to me, man. You know, this is real pleasant.
And it has to be relevant. We have to have people in here who can be in that vibe with us, because when we talking right now, we talking the same language because we both been there. We both know. Even speaking of Bad Boys, that the explosion that they had at Bad Boys at the end when they exploded what is it called that keeps the planes? Whatever it is. I was living in Cherry Bay in Carroll City. I remember when they blew that thing up, man. I remember when they did that because it was at Opelika Airport, and it was
it was
old wooden hangar that was there. I remember the day that they blew it up. I was actually outside talking on the phone when they did it. I never forget. I said, "Damn, what was that?" Saw the smoke and everything coming up, and then later on, I read in the paper that they had did it. I'm like, "Oh," they were talking about it being the last scene on Bad Boys, and I seen on Bad Boys. I'm like, look at that."
Yeah. And one of my homeboys who was in the academy with me, he was on Bad Boys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. And when you look at,
what's frat name? Fernando? Is his name Fernando?
Oh, Rodrigo.
Yeah.
You talking Rodrigo, the cook, the Chef Roddy?
He might be, but I see him in a few things as far as when it comes on like spots and commercials and ads and things like that. I think he's a firefighter, maybe. No. You
talking about Bernadette, the poet? Yeah,
POW.
Yeah, you talking about his last name Marlon Bernadette.
Yes, Marlon.
Yes, that dude. Whew, that boy got some talent.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We loaded.
High ranking.
We loaded. We loaded with it. Yeah. That's why we got to take advantage of it and monetize it, because you remember it used to always be the starving artist. But it seemed like now all the creative individuals are the ones that's getting paid. That's the way it seems. Remember, every time it was all starving artists. Oh, you doing this? Anything dealing with music or arts or any type of creativity? Oh, he ain't got no money. He ain't got no money. She ain't got no money. Now The creator is getting all the money.
True. Yeah. In fact, that's what the last recession Mike Epps was talking about. When things are bad, people want to be entertained, and entertainment comes from artists. You know, so when people they willing to make a sacrifice to see a comedy show, they're willing to make a sacrifice financially to go see some music, they're willing to go see some movie or something that people need to find somewhere to escape. And so that's the same thing we're here on this platform, being able to find something that they can escape to other than hearing all the negative stuff that they hear on the news all the time, being able to come back and reflect on the good old time, you know, putting yourself in that right place. You know, you say, man, this is a good time. Like you say, we're talking the same language, but we would like to have more people coming on and be able to share their stories about where they come from and go back. Because I'm telling you, going back and watching movies like Crooklyn, I love Crooklyn because it took me back on the Rock'em Sock'em game, all those.
Rock'em
It
Sock'em
just took me back to a good place. Yeah, man. And it just, it just took me back. But that's what I'm saying. This is why I love reflecting, and knew that things were good at one point,
That's healthy for you. Reflecting and good memories and laughing and smiling and relaxing more so than anything else. And that's why I really wanted the platform, because think about it. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you're going to do is you're really going to probably you're going to cut on the news just to see what's going on, see what the traffic's going to be like, see what the weather's going to be like. But you get all the other stuff. They hit you with the same stuff all the way through. I don't care what it is, especially now with COVID. It's all that's all you hear. I mean, you don't hear, even with COVID, why don't they talk about the individuals that has overcame COVID? Why don't they feature those stories? Talk about people who have COVID and they're back to their lives and they're happy. They think about life differently. You had them to share their thoughts and what they feel and what they think, what their family feel, what they think. Let's start talking about some positive stories instead of talking about how many tens of thousands of cases that we got new and how many thousands of people have died that we got new. We know that it's there. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to evolve, continue to grow, just like any other virus has. It's just going to do that. So why don't we show the positive stories to get people back in a better mindset? Because to overcome and really to win, you got to have your mindset right. And your mind has to be in that certain positive space, and you get inundated with everything negative. And then you turn off of that. You start hearing them screaming about politics. And then you turn over here, they're talking about voters' rights. They turn over here, they're talking about Republicans. Turn over here, they're talking about Democrats. I mean, you get inundated and bombarded with that all the time. Let's have some positive vibes. Let's talk about some great stories, some positive stories, some uplifting, inspiring stories. That's the stuff that we need, man. That's the stuff that we need.
Yeah, I think a positive story dealing with COVID. I remember, I think this was prior to my mother getting the vaccination, and she had contracted COVID. She overcame, and this was prior to getting the vaccination. So and I think some of those stories are out there. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people should talk more about those things. Because,
especially those stories.
Always look at
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, instead of always talking about the almost death sentence, man. Listen, I'm not sitting there taking for granted, but I'm just saying, it is stories out there that people can talk about to keep people inspired, not to take things for granted, but just to really say, hey, we just want to report this. We always have news stories that we say are not newsworthy. Well, I think those positive stories can keep people inspired. Well, you can transition into even advocating for some of those who take the vaccination. Everybody got their opinion about it, but it's still, we're just talking about something more positive other than always speaking and putting energy into something that's negative.
Well, see what you see a lot of these media outlets do. And again, I say these things in retrospect of how I look for us to move with Neighborhood Planet. But if you see, whenever they do have the positive stories, most of the time is right at the end of the broadcast. Secondly, you're only going to get 5 seconds of it. They give you 5, maybe 7 seconds. You might get 10. If you get 10, you're doing good, because you got to think about how many stories they put into 30-minute news segment. You got to look at that. You don't get much. You just get what they want to glamorize you, to capture you, for you to keep coming back to the station and that type of thing. But they don't without the truth. And there's a ways that you can tell those short stories with short videos that can be positive. And like I said, if you see it, they'll just show 5 seconds of it, and it's always like the last story before they're getting ready to sign off with the newscast. And that's it.
And
when they do,
and he was saying it's just a negative stuff.
When they do,
you don't need that.
Maybe it's a baby. It's about a baby or a pet. Think about it. They'll show an animal and try to give people a good feeling about it. You know, of showing an animal doing something, or they'll show a baby. Of course, most babies are beautiful. And you know, they do in their process of growing up. Yeah, there's a bunch of cute things that they do, and they do warm your heart. No questions asked. But my thing is, only those 3-5 minutes is all you get out of the rest of the 20-something minutes or 30-something minutes. Everything is negative. Everything is always repetitive. I mean, they'll tell you the same story 3 different ways in that same news segment, you know, and it's really, tough. It's tough. And the thing about it, it makes me reflect, like we were talking about Simone Biles a couple of weeks ago. It makes you think about the mental health. And now, if you didn't know, you just didn't know. So for me, I'm like, mental health, you know, that would be my thought, because I've always been this resilient, tough guy, in my opinion, and I will always endure. I could always last. I could always put the time in. I had the discipline to be able to overcome it, regardless of whatever it is. Not thinking about how it truly affects me mentally, and how if it affects me mentally, how do I take that out or express it when I'm around the people that I love? I never really thought about it until all of this mental health things, you know, and issues and conversations and things start coming up. And I think about it, and you think about what people are bombarded with daily when it comes down to news and when it comes down to information. That's all they're hearing is all of this negative stuff. And think about the kids. What are the kids? That's all they hear, because what they're doing is looking at the same TV that their parents are looking at, and listening to what their parents are saying, and how their parents are having conversations on the phone, and what their parents are saying with their friends, and that type of thing. And so I think about the future, because I have grandkids now. I mean, I'm getting a team of grandkids now. They're starting to really come. And I think about it, and I think about what is it going to be like, or what is everything going to be like when they get, you know, in their 30s and 40s. I'm talking about the babies not in a year. You know, those kids. I think about Idiocracy, the movie, because Idiocracy, the movie, even though it's a comedy, still it made me think about how technology is a great thing, but it's being used to dumb our kids down, because our kids don't have that fervor to study as much anymore. Because remember, we used to have to go to the library, and especially in all the schools used to give out their essays to be due roughly around the same time of year. I guess they were on a schedule. So you go to the library, you had to wait for someone to get finished with an encyclopedia. They only allowed them to check the encyclopedia out maybe for an hour, and they had to turn it back in, and the librarian would go find that kid with the encyclopedia and make them turn that encyclopedia in, because all the other kids are waiting for it. We had to go use the microfiche. We had to go to the index cards and find what shelf our book is on and what the number is, and go look it up and find it and get it off the shelf. I mean, those things did more. It did more for us. You know, it did more for us than having so easy access now, because these kids and all of us, we got the history of the entire world in our pocket. Any question that we have, we got the answer to, bro, in our pockets. That's crazy. I never would have imagined that being a kid. I never would have imagined this being a kid, bro. Never. I got any question, especially with me. I'm a lifelong student. That's one thing. My addiction, my drug is learning. It's always about sucking up knowledge. Yeah. And so I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, there's no way as a kid that I could imagine this, because I was that kid that was always at the library. I did what I did, but I was always at the library. I always had my nose in a book. I was always trying to learn more. That was just me, because I liked the fact of being a smart ass, because I knew so much, even though it might have been, you know, trivia question type stuff. Still, I knew it. I didn't talk about what I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, but I think that the technology is really dumbing our kids down, because they look everything up on Google. But like I tell a group of young people, I say, look, you can't learn how to live life through Google.
Yeah, it's funny that you say it, because during the time, you say what?
I say Google's not going to school them in that real life, that hard knock life university, the hard knock life university courses.
Yeah, those intangibles. Because I was asking my son something, and the first thing he did, I said, "Oh, put that phone down." I said, put that phone down, answer my question. It's his first instinct to like, no, put that phone down. I want you to think. I want to see what kind of organic thoughts and natural thoughts and think, like I said, intangible. And it's always like instantly going to Google. I said, no, I need you to have some type of ability to be creative and think of an answer without always being influenced by some other person's opinion or definition of something. I said, you don't know. I said, but I want to know what you think and what's on your mind, not what you read, what you regurgitated, but also give me some original thought. And so I saw the struggle, and that's why I think this moment was so important because, and the funny thing is, after that and during that time, I was seeing him taking initiative to ask certain questions without going here, and being able to say, let me think. And it made me proud because, again, it's not just our young kids that's being dumbed down, it's affecting us because watch this. I'm going to show you something. Okay. You see these papers I got in my hand?
Right.
Now watch this. This is going to represent a phone book. Remember the little black book?
Absolutely.
Now remember this. This is going to represent that. So guess what? I lost this. I can't find it. Now you see these papers? Now tell me if you remember this. You put those papers down. You sit there, get in a quiet room, and start writing down everybody you know in alphabetical order, and tell me you was able to recreate that phone book. You just had to take your time.
Hey,
you remember doing that?
Numbers. I didn't forget phone numbers. I did not
That's
forget
what I'm saying.
phone numbers.
There you go. Do you know my number by heart?
No, I don't know your number by heart, and that's the damn shame of it all. I know, but
that's my point. It ain't just them. It ain't just them. It's all of us.
It's all of us. See, you know what? I'm glad you said that point because one thing I started doing sporadically is deleting phone number, delete a contact, because I remember the number, and once I remember the number, I delete the contact. So that's what I'm starting to do. I'm starting to reverse engineer this thing because I remember it was a point where the only thing we had was beepers, and the thing is that you had codes. So I get a code 13. I knew who that was. I could hit that. I could get on that phone. And dial bro.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, I can remember my grandparents' numbers at both houses. Because remember, we didn't use the area code back then. It's 625-8729. I remember that like it's nothing. 685-1900. One was in Opalaga, one was in Bunch Park. 625-8729. That number been disconnected over, I don't know, forever, 20 years almost. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy though, because my family's still living in Panama City. Our phone number been the same for at least 70 years, bro. They got the phone number. Phone number for like 70 years, bro.
Yes.
70 years. That's crazy.
Because that number 685-1900, that's been like before I was born. So
right. But the beauty of it is though, is that being able to pick up those characteristics from our elders, man. I mean, and that's another thing that I would like to do with Neighborhood Planet is to be able to bridge the generational gaps and start bringing the younger generation in so they can soak up some of this stuff, man, because we got some good attributes, and a lot of times they're neglected by the attributes and tradition that we have as a culture. I think that the value of our culture is being diminished because when I can be around a group of kids or a group of teenagers, and I hear, Anglos or whites say nigga more than the blacks, and the black kids are just sitting there laughing and kicking it with them. Like I know if that word was used, should I say the N word? I think maybe I should say the N word when I'm broadcasting. I don't know. But when we were growing up, there's no way that regardless of how cool we was and how down we was, still
and no boundaries.
We drew a line in the sand, a deep line in the sand to let them know. That's and I recall a few years back. It's probably been over 5 years. My truck was down, so my job wasn't too far. So I said, well, you know what? I just go and just jump on the bus. So I jumped on the bus, and I was getting off. I got off from work and I was coming home, and the kids were getting out of school. And it was this young lady in the back. It was a group of them, and it was this older lady in the back, a black lady that was there.
Mhm.
It seemed like she was getting off from work, but she was just, she was reading her book or whatever it was. But the young lady and the kids were just being so rude, and then the white young lady just was going off cussing and n-word and all over the place. And I said something to her. I had to, because in my heart I couldn't sit there and just let her just be totally disrespectful. It had nothing to do with what she's saying. I don't care if it would have been another situation, she was just with her friends and they were talking and they were saying what they were saying, whatever that was, that would have been. But it was the fact that the elderly lady was sitting back there.
Yeah. And
And
probably eat more,
and
hearing that.
yeah, and the bus was full, so it wasn't like she could get up and move somewhere else, which I believe she probably would have done, because you can tell that she was uncomfortable with the young lady saying the things she was saying and cussing like that around. All the young kids was cussing, but
Yeah.
especially that young lady doing it and conducting herself in the way that she did. And I just had to say something, because you can see how uncomfortable she was. You can see her body language, and even though she wasn't saying nothing, because a lot of our older blacks are still like that. My mom is like that. I mean, she much rather say something good to you and kind to you, or she won't say nothing at all, and she'll accept things. She
Mhm.
still draws a line in the sand, but if it's not personally directed at her, she'll walk past it, or she'll overlook it, or whatever it may be. Feel as
Yeah.
though I just feel as though that is out of pocket. It's disrespecting. And me personally, I'm at my age. I'm in my mid 50s, and I don't care if they don't look like me. I still don't disrespect any elder. I mean, I was raised that way. If you're older than me, I'm gonna respect you,
Yeah.
regardless. If you don't disrespect me, I'm gonna show you a cordial respect, regardless if I know you or not, because you are older than me. I'm gonna show you that. And like I said, it's just those type of characteristics that I believe that the younger generation, they don't possess that, because I sit around a lot of them and I hear them, they be calling me unk, and
Yeah.
I'm the old guy, but it's not about that. It's just the fact that that's why we are the way that we are, because we soaked up the game from the old cats and the older individuals, and they gave us that game. They would give
And
us advice, and we accepted. The point was, we accepted the advice. The thing now is that it seems like the younger generation is real rebellious and don't want to hear your advice, because they have Google and they figured that they know it all. And I'm not knocking the hustle. I love my millennials. I love them. I love those early 30.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
love them. They doing it, But my thing is that they're going to be the ones that's going to help preserve our culture. And I just don't want our culture to be destroyed, man. Where it's a point that we're back to being subservient, because it can be a point where we can end up being back subservient, and not just us as a culture of blacks, but the have and have nots. It's really going to go more so to the have and have nots. And the unfortunate thing is, us have been in the have nots for a very long time. And
Hmm.
it seems as though that we're getting a little bit more weight on our side of the scale, because of the technology and the way that this younger generation is benefiting from it, and being successful with it,
Yeah.
because they're going crazy with it, and I love it. But
Yeah.
I would love to see them have more unification, and not be so quick, and don't be so judgmental, because one thing I noticed, like with posts and everything, I
Mhm.
read a post, and a person will, because somebody put a post up, somebody will come on and just go hard at them, don't even know who they are, just come out and go hard at them, call them stupid, and just name call and all of that. I'm like, well, is there a reason for it? And I think that's the nature that I'm trying to understand, is because I see it a lot. And I'm
Mhm.
and I'm sure it may be a point that you and I might be talking on here, and we might get some responses or something where people just go off for no reason and don't know who we are, and really the purpose why we're talking, or whatever the scenario may be. And it's
Mhm.
just about being judgmental and quick to jump into automatically assume, that and like I said, uh, Siri and Google don't have the answer to everything in life, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't have the answer to everything in life, and I think those are the nuances in which our younger generations are missing. And I think that they need to suck it up from the older generation, because we have physically been through this game called life, man, and it's tough. It's
Yeah.
tough. But the thing is that it's the same movie running the same scenes. They're just in different locations with different actors and actresses. That's it. But this
Yeah.
movie has been running. It ain't never changed. It's just the scenes change up and go in different locations, and the actors and the actresses change in it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But and so yeah, brother.
Yeah, man. This was a great hour. I'm telling you.
It was. It
You
was.
make that look easy.
Well, yeah. You know, building up the momentum. Building up the momentum. It's coming. It's definitely coming. I'm looking forward to it. And we're gonna be able to sit back and look at the archives and sit back and laugh about it because, you know, it's just about a movement, man. And service begets wealth as long as our heart is pure. The creator blesses. And as long as we could be, and like you were saying earlier, how people are, you know, another thing is to whom much is given, much is required. So for us that understands that and understand that service do begets wealth, we have that even killed spirit. So regardless of how people did deal with us, we might not deal with them in the manner in which they expect us to deal with them in, you know, or we won't deal with them at all. Because my thing is, for me, if you call me and I know it's you, if I ain't fooling with you, I ain't even gonna answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there ain't no reason to. But again, that's a rarity. That's a rarity. You know, it's just we are who we are. You know, we was born on the same moon, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So hey, bro, you know, it's always a pleasure. It's always fun. And you know, I will always give Mr. Suave amazing final words to be able to, you know, throw out there and give somebody something to think about going into this weekend, and you know, just give them a good word.
Well, a good word is just try to do your best to be in tune with your mental health, because your mental health is your wealth, man. You don't take it for granted. Try to avoid staying away from toxic people, because remember, great minds reach great places, and you always want to be up top.
Sounds good to me. Y'all heard it live right here, Sheldon TV, featuring my brother, Suave. Yeah. Brother, be well. Enjoy. You know, we'll catch up. Again, give that young king my love, man. And I'm wishing him many, many, many more. You know,
Yes.
you got a long way to go. Long way to go.
And thank you, Lena, for showing up. Appreciate you.
We'll always show up. If we don't do nothing else, brother, we gonna show up.
All right.
And for all those who came in, Ms. Xenia, if I'm and of course, you know, my queen is always present. She's always present. So I want to give it up to my baby. You know, I love you, baby. All right then, brother. So remain well, and we about to get on up out this piece. Everybody remain well. Thanks for coming in. Neighborhood Planet, our neighborhood, our world.
All right, brother.